The Thai movie begins with a woman sewing. The dress she finishes seems like it was sewn for two conjoined twins. Then we see a woman in a dark room. She hears the sudden creaking of a door. As she walks slowly in the darkness, a man surprises her by wishing her a happy birthday. The lights turn on, and a bunch of people are there to sing the birthday song to her. She is the main character, Pim, who asks her husband, Wee, if it was fun scaring her. During the opening credits, we see several illustrations of conjoined twins. Interestingly, the final photo of such twins segues into someone cutting Pim's birthday cake in half, as if it were the twins being divided. A woman brings Wee a slice of cake, but he sets it down. Pim says he has diabetes. He takes one bite and gives the rest to his dog. The next scene has them playing cards. Another woman tells Pim she is starting to understand others, yet not herself. Once the woman flips over the Queen of Spades, she says Pim's lost things will be found. She asks if Pim lost something long ago, to which she replies she has not. This makes the woman say maybe it wasn't a thing. It could be a person. She adds there will be a cost. The woman from earlier says this woman's predictions can't be trusted, because the former was told she would have a partner soon. However, she is still single. When they are alone, Pim gives an insulin shot to her husband. Afterward, he answers a ringing phone to learn it is for Pim. He informs her the hospital in Thailand called to say her mother is sick. He asks her if they should go back there. Pim wonders if she had not come here, maybe this would not have happened. In the washroom, she reveals a big scar on her stomach. We get a brief flashback of an incision being made by doctors. The flashback takes place during the couple's plane ride. Pim tells Wee she doesn't want to go back. Since her twin sister Ploy perished, she does not want to live in her old house anymore. She asks her husband if he thinks she is selfish, and he says he doesn't think that at all. If she had not wanted the operation, perhaps Ploy would not have passed away. Wee says it was the operation's fault, not hers. She rests her head on his shoulder. Then they are walking inside a hospital before entering a room where Pim's mom lies. The doctor says she can't get up today, and she can't speak. Her brain injury creates this type of effect. They have to wait for it to heal to be sure of the outcome. The doctor says they can visit tomorrow. Following this, the couple arrives at Pim's old house. She looks at it with apprehension. Once they enter, the first thing Pim does is she opens the piano to strike a note. This reminds her of playing the piano with Ploy during their youth. Moving along, she spends some time reconnecting with the belongings of the house. The most important of these is a photo album that contains many pictures of Pim being with her sister. She remembers how they were little at the beach and drew a lemniscate, the symbol for infinity, in the sand. Due to Ploy having worn glasses, Pim takes them out of a box. A song plays on a record, prompting Pim to tell Wee it was her sister's favorite song. Hence he stops it. Subsequently, a maid named Noi tells Pim she finished everything and asks to go home. Pim says she can stay at this house because it will be less trouble for Noi, but the maid says it will be better if she goes home. When Pim is done showering, she sees a lemniscate on the fogged mirror. It makes her smear it in fear. She gets in bed, where she is soon shocked to see someone lying beside her. Full of fear, she awakens Wee, yet the person is no longer there. On the next day, Pim is in the hospital at her mother's bedside. The woman's eyes are now open. Pim asks her what happened, and the woman seems like she wants to tell her daughter something, but this moment gets interrupted by a nurse entering the room. Back at home, Pim asks Noi what happened to her mother. The maid claims to not know. What she can say is that Pim's mom liked to keep to herself in her room and cry. Sometimes Noi felt the woman was scared of something. We see her being scared, which causes her heart rate monitor to rise quickly. At the hospital, Pim learns from the doctor that her mother had a relapse. Later, she accidentally spills coffee on her shirt. It becomes complemented with bloodstains appearing on her clothes. She drops the coffee in fear, and the bleeding gets out of control. Then a nurse brings her back to reality. This episode was her imagination running amok. In a short time, Pim asks the doctor how long will it take for her mother to improve. He cannot answer that. It depends on the woman's will to survive, he says. At home, Pim searches for her dog until she finds it barking at a mirror. Suddenly, a gray person appears in it and knocks on the mirror to crack it. This scares Pim to fall on the stairs behind her. She loses consciousness this way. In the next scene, she is just like her mom, lying in a hospital bed. Wee is at her side. Once she awakens, she is alone in a mostly dark room. She goes to the washroom, where she becomes wary of being near a mirror. Her reflection forms a smirk, making Pim slam the mirror repeatedly with the device attached to her. Wee hears this and rushes to her. He finds her sitting scared in the washroom. She hugs him out of fear. Afterward, she is in her room with a bandage over her arm. Wee asks her why she behaved that way. He wants her to tell him if there is a problem. Hence she tells him she keeps seeing her sister. He thinks maybe she should see a doctor, to which she replies she is not crazy. At home, we see her husband has a guest with him. When Pim becomes present, Wee tells her the guest is his old friend, Denai. They were best friends before Wee went to Korea. Pim learns he is a doctor and asks what kind. The moment he reveals he's a psychiatrist, Pim knows what this is regarding. So she leaves out of being upset. Wee follows her. She gets in the car to go in reverse, but by mistake reverses into their... Of course, she gets out of the vehicle to cry. Her husband has to hold her in this rough time. Then we see her receiving a brain scan. Danai informs her the condition of her brain is very good. He starts to give her a Rorschach test and she talks slightly sarcastically about it. This prompts him to say that if a person sees a psychiatrist, it does not mean they are crazy. He adds that Wee is worried about her, thus he asks her to tell him what happened. We get a flashback of Pim being conjoined to Ploy. Pim says they used to be together permanently. We observe them doing many good things together. Yet there were problems with other kids poking fun at them due to their highly unnatural condition. Angered, Ploy threw a rock at a boy's head. Danai asks Pim why she got the operation to separate. She can't answer this, and begins to cry. Later, Danai tells Wee his wife has a type of psychosis that does not allow her to differentiate reality from fantasy. The good news is, this condition is easily cured. Taking Pim back to Korea could be enough. However, Wee thinks they will be in Thailand for some time. At another time, Pim walks alone on the beach. Upon turning around, she sees 2 sets of footprints in the sand. She gets frightened and rushes home. In there, she hears Wee talking to someone. He seems to be talking to another Pim, or perhaps Ploy. This woman turns around to look at Pim with bloody and empty eyes. Thankfully, this was Pim's nightmare. She turns on the fan before she goes back to bed. Soon we see someone above the couple. It doesn't take long for Pim to see her sister from the fan. She is nearly paralyzed with fear. Wee wakes up and tries to get her attention, but she is too terrified to respond to him. At the hospital, Wee tells his friend that Pim has not improved. He wants them to hurry back to Korea. Changing the topic, Wee asks if Danai heard that if one twin perishes, the other also has to perish. Pim told him that Ploy had arrived to take her sister's life. Danai says it's a superstition. He believes it is the sympathy the surviving twin has for the one who passed away. When Wee returns home, he sees 2 people behind a blurry glass. Coming behind the glass, he sees it is only Pim there. She gets startled by his presence and drops her pills. Back at the hospital, Wee observes a nurse wheeling a patient, causing him to remember the distant past. He similarly gets moved in a wheelchair by a nurse. He sees Pim through a window, and they both smile. Once Ploy reveals herself behind the curtain, Wee looks away. As time passes, he watches the twins walk together in different areas. The boy becomes obsessed with them. He sketches the girls from a distance. The moment Pim looks at him, his drawing flies out of his hands, probably thanks to the wind. It lands close to the twins, and they collect it to see the various sketches Wee made of them. While he is wheeling himself away, he encounters them blocking his path. Pim gives him his paper back. Out of the flashback, he sees Pim's mother has awakened. She again looks like she wants to say something, but is incapable. At home, Pim hears a loud noise from above, so she cautiously starts to go up there. Entering a room, she sees glasses being out of their proper place. She quickly puts them back in the drawer. The lady has to calm herself by drinking a pill. She then lies in the bathtub. She almost completely submerges into the water and touches the scar on her stomach. Suddenly, someone grabs her from beneath, making Pim struggle. Fortunately, she manages to escape, flopping to the floor. However, the chaos doesn't stop there. The lights go out and she collects a flashlight she uses to descend to the first floor. She eventually shines the light on a grotesque person with a wide-open mouth. In her attempt to run away, she bumps into Wee, whose presence saves her. In Danai's office, she tells him it's not safe until her sister is gone. He replies the ghost is a figment of her imagination. He supports this by saying the brain has a part that is linked to emotions. It somewhat allows for the things they wish for to actually happen. Pim keeps perceiving her sister because she is still emotionally connected to her. Danai puts a mirror in front of her and asks who she sees. This happening gives us a flashback of Wee drawing the twins as they sit on a bench for him. Sadly, he covers Ploy with his drawing pad to only see Pim. Soon he gives a flower to her but not to Ploy. At night, Pim sleeps with the flower on top of her. Out of jealousy, her sister tosses the flower aside. If the flower wasn't enough, Wee also gives her a necklace. At the bench, Ploy is angry to see Wee liking her sister whilst not paying similar attention to her. Our attention is brought to her holding a mouse. Her frustration causes her to accidentally squeeze the poor animal to its... When Wee is about to leave the area, he looks at the window through which he first saw Pim and calls out to her. We see the twins lying on the bed. Pim wants to get up, yet her sister acts like she's indifferent to the matter. Pim suffers due to this. Since no one is coming to the window, Wee gives the nurse something he drew. He wants her to give the drawing to Pim. Out of the flashback, Danai says she doesn't have to be guilty of her decision to separate from Ploy. She says they argued strongly. Ploy did not want the operation. He asks if Pim ever thought about her sister being a burden, and Pim did not. Danai says it's not wrong to want a private life. Alas, she cries she was responsible for Ploy's demise. The psychiatrist tells her she will stop seeing Ploy's shadow everywhere if she stops punishing herself. Elsewhere, she occupies an elevator, where she sees her reflection on the metal doors. Scarily, Ploy's reflection is also there. Pim has to tell herself it's not real. Once she opens her eyes, she sees just herself in the reflection. At home, we see she bought a new dog that looks exactly like her last one. She even calls it the same name, but her husband says it's not who the dog is. He then tells her the hospital from Korea said the couple can go home now. Later, Wee searches for something under the bed. He sees the bed move around chaotically and gets scared. Crawling out from there, he sees everything seems strangely normal. He lifts the mattress to find the drawing he wanted to give to Pim long ago. Another flashback shows us Pim looking at it. In the present, Wee asks his wife if she remembers the picture he drew. We see the past Pim looking at it, and it has solely her sitting on the bench. When he asks her if Ploy tore it, the girl does exactly that in the past. He desires to know if the sisters separated because of him. Again, his question instantly reveals the answer. Pim yells to Ploy that she hates her and she wants them to separate. Hearing this surprises Ploy. Come night, Ploy has had enough, so she decides to overdose on pills. Pim wakes up to witness her suffering. Their mom saved Ploy and agreed to have them separated. In the present, Pim tells her husband Ploy always loved him, words he is shaken to hear. At night, Pim goes to bed alone. She hears odd sounds, prompting her to look around. She doesn't see anything unusual, but the sounds become stronger. Soon she sees something in the darkness, and someone grabs her. She escapes before seeing the ghost. In Danai's office, the man says he believes Pim has seen her sister. However, he doesn't believe it is real. As he keeps talking, she yells for him to stop. The lady who knows more than him storms out of the room in frustration. Outside, Wee learns from his friend that Pim is gone. Thus he rushes to find her. The next scene has Pim throwing a photo of her with Ploy into a fire. She then goes home and frantically throws clothes out of the closet. She gets scared to find her sister hanging in there. This makes her hurry out of the house into her car. Yet no matter what she does, she can't seem to escape seeing Ploy. She sees her in the mirror and crashes into the greenhouse out of fear. Once she exits the vehicle, she sees Ploy in the reflection beside her. Wee appears there for her to hug. It looks like a safe moment for her until she realizes she is hugging Ploy. The glass shatters from above, falling on her. Due to this, our heroine loses consciousness. Afterward, Wee arrives for real to witness the chaos. He takes her to the house where she wakes up. They hug, and he says they should move back to Korea. When he lifts her off the couch, he observes the cushion near her elevate, as if an invisible person were sitting there. At the hospital, Wee comes to Pim's mom, who grabs his shirt. She wants to tell him something. Although we don't hear what it is, this time it seems like she finally does speak because Wee occupies a cemetery in the next scene. She must have told him to go there for him to see what name is written on a grave. Seeing it, he falls to his knees. Returning home, he has Pim crying to him about her mother having passed away. She asks him where he was. Wee counters her question with his own, asking how she perished, for her condition was much improved. Pim cries she doesn't know how it happened, but we are presented with an earlier scene of how she disconnected her mother's tube to take her life. Wee tells her it is good that her mom spoke to him before she perished. He asks if Pim was frightened her mom would tell him something. The man holds Ploy's glasses and asks if they are Pim's. At this point, he calls his wife Ploy. He lets her know he went to the cemetery to learn what truly happened to Pim. She lost her life, he says. It makes him ask her why she did it while calling her Ploy. The lady cannot accept this and keeps saying she is Pim. Wee grabs her, demanding to know what happened to Pim, so she remembers how Pim was angry, calling Ploy an appendage. Those words caused Ploy to choke her beloved sister to her untimely demise. Since she did not mean to push it that far, she worriedly cried out to her mother. Out of this horrific memory, Ploy cries and says she did not mean it. She then yells she is identical to Pim in every way. She asks why he can't love her. The reason he gives is they are two different people. Hence, she throws the important question at him. If all the time they had together is worthless. He responds by ripping the necklace off her that he gave long ago, saying it isn't hers. As he walks away, she breaks an object over his head. He wakes up restrained to a chair. He struggles in it and falls to the side. Ploy approaches him with her glasses on. She quietly says she never knew this day would come. Bringing him back up, she says everyone loved Pim. After she perished, her mom never spoke to Ploy. She says she loves Wee even more than Pim now. She made herself believe the letter he sent to Pim was sent to her instead. The deceptive lady angrily yells that he thought he was writing to Pim, yet it was to Ploy. Moving along, she shows how much she loves him by giving him his insulin injection prior to breaking the needle, while it is still in him. He headbutts her to the floor. Soon she sees Noi has arrived outside. Ploy draws near the maid and Noi says she forgot her phone. She will bring it to her, says Ploy. In the meantime, Wee manages to free himself. Ploy returns to see an empty chair. She searches for him but doesn't find him. Thus, she takes out a lighter, threatening to burn down the house. Wee emerges to grab her, and she drops the lighter, igniting the gasoline that was supposedly on the floor already. The couple falls downstairs during their fight. Wee has acquired a crippling injury whilst his wife became unconscious. He crawls to the refrigerator to collect another syringe that he uses to give himself a proper insulin injection. He begins to crawl out of the burning house and encounters either a deceased or unconscious Noi on the floor. Then Ploy appears to strike him with a lamp. He pushes her down, continuing their fight on the floor. He is about to hit her with an object. What stops him is her glasses falling off. The man can't bring himself to strike her because she looks like the one he loves. Ploy uses this to her advantage and gains the upper hand. However, she also can't hurt him, for she perceives her grotesque sister in him. It prompts her to remove herself from him in fear. This time, Wee does not hold back. He brings down a big cabinet on her before limping out of the burning house. Ploy finds herself trapped in the cabinet. She isn't strong enough to lift it. The ghost of Pim appears to haunt her in this small enclosed space. She screams and burning planks fall on the cabinet to have it start burning as well. We watch the many areas of the house burn dramatically. While that happens, we see the happy moments the twin sisters had together during their youth. At the cemetery, Wee puts the necklace on Pim's grave, which has a photo of the twins. This is how the story tragically ends, with both of the sisters having passed away and leaving Wee with neither of them.